Welcome back. We are coming to you live this Sunday morning from inside the U.S. Capitol. New data this week exposing the negative impact of Bidenomics, from red-hot inflation and 10-month highs in the price of oil to declining incomes. American wallets are now reaching a breaking point. The Census Bureau reported incomes are down for 3 years in a row. And between 2021 and 2022, real median household income declined 2.3%, while inflation went up nearly 8%, the largest increase since 1981. The numbers do not add up. Joining me right now with more on the impact of bad policy on their constituents is Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much for being here. You've been talking with constituents, and now you're facing this, uphill battle of funding the government, but not having Nancy Pelosi's policies continuing. Where are we on this?
Well, we're working it out, and we have our work cut out for us coming up this week. Starting on Monday, Speaker McCarthy told us last week that we're not leaving town until we get our job done, and I completely agree with that approach, Maria. Americans are used to working overtime in their jobs. I think Congress should be doing the same thing.
Look, I know you're not a member of the Freedom Caucus anymore, but what does the Freedom Caucus want? What is the issue with a 30-day short-term resolution here so that the government doesn't shut down? Or should a shutdown happen?
Well, I think conservatives across America are sick and tired of the overspending in Washington. With over $33 trillion in debt, that is outrageous. What we want to see happen is we want to see to cut spending in our appropriation bills. I think we can do that, but we have to prioritize the border. The border is completely out of control. Over 300 Americans dying every single day, drugs, human trafficking, and now thousands of migrants, illegal aliens, being mass released by Border Patrol. Why? Because the Biden administration doesn't care about a border. With the Biden administration, we have no border.
Well, I mean, look, you say that there's common ground there, but look, Congressman Waltz, you haven't even had an agreement on funding the military. What's the problem with the DOD appropriations bill?
We can't get anyone to state a problem with the actual bill. Maria, this is a very conservative bill that will cut critical race theory, will cut DEI and all of that nonsense, will get our warfighters focused back on defending the country. Maria, it establishes an inspector general for Ukraine funding to keep eyes on what Biden's sending over there with his blank check. It cuts $20 billion of wasteful spending out of the Pentagon. Maria, it even takes $1 billion out of the civilian bloated workforce and gives the enlisted troops a 30% raise. So we can't get anyone to say what's wrong with that. What I think is happening is they're using that bill as hostage for the broader spending cuts. I totally agree with Marjorie, with the Freedom Caucus and others. We have to get spending under control, but we can't do it on the backs of our troops and getting this Biden's Pentagon under control to cut the climate, CRT, and other nonsense. So I've told Speaker McCarthy, bring it to the floor. Enough is enough. Let's have people go on record with how they want to vote.
Well, it looks like that's what's going to happen this week, but a lot of people expect a government shutdown. So what happens then?
Well, I don't think that needs to happen. Actually, I think that we need to work. We need to do our jobs. And I think we're capable of doing that. The voters across America gave Republicans the House majority for a reason. And that's because they don't like Democrat policies of failure, of high inflation. Senior citizens can't afford groceries. Gas prices are out of control. No one can afford their electricity bills. And nobody wants the Green New Deal. And so I think it's our job to get in the room and get to work and figure out how to fund the government, but do it appropriately.
Yeah, no, and I just want to add to that. My problem with the shutdown is then Biden can say, you know what, Border Patrol isn't getting paid. Can just literally throw his arms up and it'll make the border situation worse. And what I want folks to understand is the last time we had a shutdown, President Trump was in office and could manage, the impact of it. Now with Biden in office, he can say, you know what, Republicans in the House did this. The investigation stopped. The troops don't get paid. The Border Patrol doesn't get paid. I just don't think that's the way to go.
Layer on top of this, Congresswoman, you've got a strike right now from the United Auto Workers. Tell me where that's going and whether or not you elected officials can do anything about that.
I think it's a disaster for America. These auto workers are striking. They're striking the big three, but they're also striking at a time where the Green New Deal is now in effect. And with the Democrats wanting net zero by 2035, they're striking an industry that is literally going to destroy their jobs. This is a crisis for America. This is a crisis for anyone that loves their cars and trucks, that has a hobbyist into historic cars and wants to keep that going.
Well, you made the point, pardon me, that who isn't striking? Tesla, Toyota.
That's right.
The international car makers who may very well take market share. Look, I got to get onto the impeachment inquiry, and I want to talk with you about this, Congressman, because one of the things that I am just blown away by is this Chinese nuclear company, Chinese nuclear supplier company that Rosemont Seneca is an investor in, that Hunter Biden's company?
Hunter Biden's private equity firm that he is a major shareholder of has invested in blacklisted Chinese firms, including a nuclear firm that's sanctioned for trying to steal our nuclear warheads. So he and the White House say, oh, he's not on the board anymore. Maybe not, but you know what? He's an equity holder. He has a financial interest. And we know this just from business filings in China. So here's why the inquiry is so important over a regular investigation. The inquiry penetrates executive privilege, whether it's over the emails, and it has standing to get these kinds of records from whether it's the banks, the LLCs, the shell companies, or these private equity firms that Hunter is an equity holder. So how is that then affecting Biden saying, we don't want to contain China. We want China to be successful on the international stage? How is policy being affected by his family getting enriched?
And that's what we've been trying to identify, Congresswoman. We've been trying to identify what specific policy changes did Joe Biden make, or was Joe Biden behind to understand why he was paid and his family was paid these $20+ million, although Nancy Mace told me it's up to $50 million.
Well, Maria, you're absolutely right. Well, we know policy changes were made. Joe Biden, as Vice President of the United States, withheld $1 billion in U.S. aid to Ukraine to get the Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin fired. And then I would argue that we're in a war in Ukraine in a proxy war with Russia today. Why? Because the Bidens are on the hook. He couldn't say no to Zelensky, and he still can't say no to Zelensky. These are the types of dangerous policy decisions that this leader has made, and he's lied about them. He lied about 9/11 just last week, and if he lies about that, he will lie about anything.
So why aren't you getting his family members in and subpoenaing them? I mean, I know that this is Jim Jordan's committee. Next week you've got Merrick Garland testifying.
Yes.
But look, if we had Hunter Biden in tomorrow, which I would love to see, he's going to lie. We need to have his bank records. We need to see where the money went. We know he complained about paying dad's bills. He complained that he couldn't have access to dad's account. He complained about having to share half his salary.
Yeah.
That's all admissible in court, but I want to see the actual records, and that's what Jordan and that's what Comer are going after, and that's why the inquiry is needed.
Are we going to see a subpoena of Biden family members?
I will say yes eventually, but we're going to have all of the information in front of us beforehand. And here's something else.
But what if you don't get it?
Well, let me tell you who else we need to have. We need to have every single federal bureaucrat that covered up Joe Biden's crimes for all these years. This isn't anything new, because those are the people that we have to fire, and those are the people that under a Republican-held White House, under President Trump, the Department of Justice needs to prosecute.
All right, we will leave it there. Great conversation. Thank you so much to you both, Congressman Michael Waltz and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Congressman Michael Waltz, thank you. Congresswoman, thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.